All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the McKinney Podcast. Do not adjust your audio settings. This is my voice. This is a new development. As I was sharing with our in-house guest today, that normally this time of year, when the weather changes and that one storm front rolls in, I get a little bit of a respiratory thing. But I had deviated septum surgery this year, and I don't know if things are more freely flowing, but it seems that whatever this weather change is, it has brought me with this luscious voice. So for the next few sessions, this is what you're going to get. And on behalf of James Jenkins with RiskWell, we are coming to you live from the RiskWell studios. He is currently handling a very important detail, and he might be jumping in here to join us later, but it's not about us. It's about the people of McKinney that make us unique and truly great. And today we have with us Kerri Steele from Little Hearts of Hope. Welcome, Kerri.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so now, before we jump into Little Hearts of Hope, we always like to get just a little bit of a bio on who has come into our studio today. So where were you born?
I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, born and raised.
Is that how you say it? New Orleans?
New Orleans.
All righty. Isn't there some other special way that you're supposed
There's
to say it?
There's a lot of ways that a lot of people say it.
Okay.
I grew up in New Orleans, and that's how we say it.
Because I have been corrected many times. It's Nolans.
Yeah, I don't know a single person who says it like that from New Orleans. Yeah.
Really?
Now, maybe outskirts of New Orleans, everybody has a different, slightly different dialect. Mm-hmm. The TV shows you see are more southern Louisiana, like beyond Lafayette. They say things a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so New Orleans. Okay. And so how did you work your way here to Texas?
Katrina pushed me here. Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
I had an 18-month-old and a 2-week-old, and we had lived through lots and lots and lots of hurricanes, and so nobody really gave it much credence. And Katrina hit. I lost half my roof. The entire bottom floor of my house flooded. And I had 2 screaming babies, no electricity. And I told my husband, I need you to get me out of here. I don't care where we go. Please get me out of here. And anyway, we found our way to Richardson and lived there for a while. And then he got promoted to a job in Frisco and was commuting back and forth. And I was like, we need to move to Frisco. I can't do this commute. So I ended up in Frisco, and then my office is here in McKinney.
How about that? So, well, that's amazing. So, thank goodness that, Katrina was relatively kind to you.
Yes, and all things considered.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's get some other things out of the way here. LSU?
I went to grad school at LSU.
Okay. So, all right. I just want to represent here that I don't think I've ever shared it with our studio or with our listening audience that I'm a class of '93 University of Florida graduate. Okay. So I don't have much love for LSU.
Okay.
Anything purple
That's
and
fair.
gold.
That's fair.
But we're still the SEC. So those years that the Gators were up, obviously I was talking all the smack.
Yeah.
Then the coin flipped, and I don't think it's come back since then. And so I'm like, go SEC.
I'm a black and gold girl. I'm a Saints fan through and through.
Who dat?
That's right. That's right. Whether they're winning or losing, I'm going to be rooting for the Saints.
They've had their ups and downs as well. But, the Cowboys actually did win against, was it the Giants? Is that who they played against? I think that makes our grand total of 2 wins this year. So,
yeah, I think we're kind of neck and neck.
Yeah, I know. We them boys. Okay, so let's get into it. Little Hearts of Hope. You specifically work with children who have cancer.
So we actually work with the siblings.
The siblings
of children who have cancer, or children who have a parent with cancer. Mm-hmm. So my husband that I was mentioning that got me out of New Orleans after the hurricane, he passed away at the age of 36 from terminal cancer. And we had 3 very young children at the time. I had been a stay-at-home mom and was homeschooling my kids. And so about a year after his passing, everybody was like, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to school? Are you going to, what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. Got to do something. Mm-hmm. And I really was lost. trying to figure out how I was going to provide for my family. And so I spent a week praying and fasting and asking God to give me direction on what to do. And during that week, I got this vision for this program. And I honestly was like, okay, great. But I actually need like a paycheck and whatever. I guess I'll spend another week praying and fasting because I didn't get what I needed out of this one. Not that that was the right heart, but that was how I felt afterwards. I had brought the program to a couple of nonprofits, and one of them said, we really love this and we'd like you to run it. But as a nonprofit, our budget is allocated for the year, so you're going to have to go fundraise for your salary and for this program. And I said, no, thank you. I don't like asking people for money. I don't really know how to run my own program. I had worked in cardiac rehab prior to being a stay-at-home mom. And about 2 weeks, I just fought with the Lord about whether or not I should take this venture on. And I really got to the point where I was like, it's just a job. Like, if this fails, what is the big deal? And so I agreed to onboard, and we started fundraising. We raised about $30,000 in 2 months and had over 100 kids on a waiting list. And the nonprofit that I was working with said, we really feel like this is going to be its own nonprofit. Like, we had no idea how big the need was, but it's big. And you're going to need to start your own nonprofit. We'll help you. And I was like, no. Do not want to be an entrepreneur. I do not want to have no financial security, no medical insurance, no 401, all of that. It did not feel like a good idea as a single parent of 3 kids. And so I spent another couple weeks really praying and fighting it out with the Lord. And I just got to the point where I said I would rather have something fail out of pursuing what I believe God is calling me to do than to not do it because of fear of failure. And that was over 10 years ago.
How about that? Okay, so what is the mission statement of Little Hearts of Hope?
So we teach healthy coping skills using creative expression to children age 4 to 14 that have a parent or sibling fighting cancer. And the way that we do that is through activities of play, art, and creative writing. And those are the ways that kids typically process their emotions best. Talk therapy that we adults it does not work for kids. And so what we are doing is teaching parents how to teach their kids healthy coping skills, how to have difficult conversations, how to build trust, and really talk about difficult things. Sometimes we're talking about anticipatory grief. We're talking about the dying process. We're talking about abandonment issues where families are gone away to hospitals for long periods of time and the kids at home are being shuffled around between friends and family and neighbors. And there's a lot of trauma that comes with watching someone fight cancer.
So give us, now that we've, I've like set the way back and the way forward machine, and we've got this. So Katrina happens, you moved to Texas. How many years after you moved to Texas was it before the initial diagnosis of the cancer?
Let's see. We have been in Texas for 19 years, and my husband passed away 12 years ago. So we were in Texas for about 7 years.
Okay. And
does that math add up? I've only had 1 cup of coffee today.
I've had no coffee. I've had water and icebreaker cinnamon mints. So.
Okay. Well, math is not my gifting. So if that math is wrong, keep it to yourself.
If the Lord calls you to math, are you going to fight him?
Probably for a little bit.
Okay. So you moved to Texas with 2 children. Then you had your 3rd child.
Yes.
Okay. And then when, because I know, that cancer, some form of cancer touches everybody, touches pretty much everybody.
Everybody knows somebody with cancer.
That's right. That's right. When was the initial diagnosis? And then what was the time from when he was diagnosed to the time that he passed?
So February of 2010, he was given 6 months to live at diagnosis.
That's aggressive.
Very aggressive. He really had no symptoms. So he was tired, but we had 3 kids. He ran a prayer team in the morning. He ran 13 miles a day and he worked a full-time job. Of course, he was tired. And so that was February of 2010, and he passed away on Christmas Eve of 2012. Almost 3 years.
That's good. So there's more time in that. And so what were the ages of your children at the onset of this journey?
They were 2, 4, and 6.
2, 4, and 6. So then now they were 5, 7, and 9.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so at this point, you're still a nurse.
Nope, not a nurse. I was a stay-at-home mom.
You're a stay-at-home mom at this point.
I had worked as an exercise physiologist in cardiac rehab.
Okay.
So after surgery, I was the mean person who would get you up out of bed and make you start exercising.
Oh, man. And so, but at this point, along this journey with your husband, were there organizations that you relied on at that point? So
we found a lot of resources for my husband, the person going through cancer. There was not a lot of support for me as the caregiver, which because of his cancer and the type of treatment he had, it was a full-time job. And then there were outside of private therapy for my kids, there were no resources available for children.
Because at this point, you're just, is it fair to say that you were just in survival and comfort mode?
We were absolutely in survival mode. It was what clinical trial, what homeopathic treatment, we tried everything that there was to try. And so managing all of those appointments, all of the traveling, managing getting people to stay with the kids when we had to travel, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, because, it's, as we have both, agree that, cancer touches pretty much everybody in some fashion or another. My mom was diagnosed with cancer when I was 7 years old, 8 years old. It's been a while.
We don't need to do that math. It's fine.
That's right. It's like 54 now, so it was either 46 or 47 years ago. But it was very fast. I as a young child, I remember, our parents sitting down with us and saying that, that mom is sick and she needs to go to the hospital. And then summer rolled around and we were shuffled between just a couple of families. And then by the end of summer, she had passed.
Wow.
And so, it's one of those things that it was just a blur for me. And so, I can kind of relate to the idea of kids just being in the mix. Because
they're sort of left behind because the care of the person who is sick has to be the priority. Nobody is leaving these kids behind because they don't care or they don't want to.
That's right.
It's that the care of the sick person is the priority, as it should be. And so what happens is they get left behind. And children often, because kids are egocentric, they, in their mind, make up what's going on, why it's going on,
That's right.
what they should do, what they shouldn't do, without actually talking to an adult about it. And so the idea behind what we do is for the parents to bring those conversations up, to get that stuff out in the open so that you can speak truth, which builds trust.
That's right.
And also, a lot of the emotions that they feel are very negative. And so you don't want kids holding on to shame or guilt, feeling like they did something or they should have done something. It really opens the lines of communication.
And so with your own children, so let's, I apologize that I have messed up the timeline because I asked certain questions out of sequence. For your own children, your husband passes, and then when is it that you actually formally kick off Little Hearts of Hope? What's the time period there? So
he passed away Christmas Eve of 2012, and Little Hearts of Hope opened its doors as its own entity, as its own nonprofit in August of 2014. So it was just about a year after he had passed. It was January of 2014 that I started. I worked with my kids' school counselor, the social worker from hospice, and my kids' own play therapist, and said, hey, here's this vision that I have. Can you help me figure out how we're not offering therapy, but we're helping parents learn how to help their kids. And so the idea behind that is if you have a generation of children who have healthy coping skills and who are processing trauma while they're going through it and not holding on to it, we're going to have a healthier generation of kids.
Absolutely.
And because we're also faith-based, we also share a lot of what the God's word says about our emotions, and that our emotions are a gift. They really are. Everybody has them, and there's a reason why we have them. We don't need to be ashamed of them or afraid of them. It's let's learn how to deal with them properly.
I like to use the example of emotions are like those lights on the dashboard of our car.
Yeah.
You know, they come on and they're telling us something that we need to be aware of, you know. And for me, you know, I'm very thankful that my father's profession was psychiatry.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, a lot of the things that, you know, you're talking about, I was like, man, you know, I think my dad just talked to me a lot, or we just had a lot of conversations. There's a lot of time. It was just my brother, myself and my dad. So, you know, I think about those things, and of course, very young. So, you know, I've tried to go back and think about those emotions and things, but, you know, as a young boy, there are just certain things that just did not click. Because I was just too young to understand them, but my dad was there to talk me through them. So now you talk about, you know, you've openly mentioned your faith. When it comes to people who, you know, pull up your information, do they have to believe?
They do not. Absolutely not. What we believe is that it's a parent's role to instruct their children in the way that they believe. And for me, my faith was the foundation of hope that got me through a really difficult time, and also my source of truth. And so what we do is we share that faith-based information in our parent letter. So the parents can decide how little or how much they share with their own children. And the other aspect of it is we have a prayer team that meets once a month. And I connect with every family in our program every single month to find out what other resources they need connecting to and help with. And then also if they have any special needs they would like us to pray about, that we have a prayer team, almost 80 people now on our prayer team. So at the end of the program, we do have a Bible that we share with our families. And again, the parents can choose what they do with that or not, but the projects themselves throughout the year are not faith-based. They're just, you know, social services.
That's right. So when you say end of program, do you have a prescribed time period that you work with a family, or is it dependent upon the family member who is diagnosed with cancer?
So we have, including the goodbye package, we have 13 packages. So our program lasts for 13 months. It is 1 year. Every single month they get a different package. Every package focuses on a different emotion. And the 13th package is our goodbye package. And regardless of whether the person goes into remission, is still fighting, or has passed away, in the 10 years that I have been in operation, I think we have had 3 families total who have said that they didn't want to complete the program to the 13th month because their loved one had passed away, and the packages were actually a very painful reminder of doing those things with their loved one. And so, you know, we unenroll them from the program at that point. But we're serving about 150 kids a month, and to only have 3 in the last 10 years, I think is testament to teaching these healthy coping skills with these difficult emotions are important for anyone at any stage.
And so in this 13-month program, are there specific things that build upon the previous month so that, you know, if you, let's say in the 4th month, things are really busy and they don't have time to work through that package, when the 5th month rolls along, are they missing things from the previous?
So the first 2 packages are more foundational. So the first package is teaching just some basic emotional intelligence. The second package teaches how we feel emotions in our body, where we feel them, what they might feel like. And then the next 10 packages are all specific emotions. And the activities within each package are designed to be 10 to 15 minutes. They're not very long. We include all of the materials they need so the parents don't have to go buy anything. And they can do that at some point in the month without it being a real strain. Prioritizing that time is important. Will they miss something building upon the next month? No, they will not. But these are the emotions that kids will feel when they're watching this sort of medical trauma in their home. And so if they don't happen to get to it, it will be there whenever they are ready to or need to address it.
Okay. Because I know I've done some research and reading on like the stages of grief, you know, whether it's, you know, you've got shock or you've got anger and things like that. So is it fair to say that that's kind of how these monthly packages are broken out to address these things?
So they're broken out into just the specific emotions. So we deal with abandonment, false guilt, jealousy, anxiety, disappointment. They're all just different emotions. The goal of this program is to reach families while they are going through the cancer treatment so that these families have this log of memories of activities of creating and having fun together. But we do work with a lot of families who actually have just hit remission and have come out of that survival mode and realizing they have so much to process. And so we will also work with families at that point as well. But I love to do it ideally while they're in the midst of the fight because not everybody gets into remission. Sure,
absolutely. So you said each packet about a 15-minute activity?
Yes.
Okay, and that's one activity that they just do once in the month, or can they go back and you know, are there consumables in there or is, you know, what's in there that, you know, because I'm thinking, you know, 15 minutes for a month, like, I don't know that would, I hate to think, you know, lots of times when I'm under stress, my coping is, you know, getting active in something.
Sure.
Whether it's, you know, all of a sudden I'm tinkering on my car or I'm, you know, scrubbing the kitchen, you know, obsessively. You know, so I would think, man, if I hit a stress point and 15 minutes is all I have and then I have nothing left. So can you dive more into that?
Yeah. So a lot of our materials we laminate and we send dry erase markers. So the kids can do it over and over and over again. Some of our packages, they will use the materials and the parents would need to buy more if the kid wanted to do it again.
But these are common things.
Walmart, Amazon, Michael's, you know, Dollar Tree. You can find the stuff anywhere. It's water balloons. And so what we send them, we want to be of the highest quality, to be the most exciting. I remember being the kid who wanted the pen that had 10 different colors that you could click on. And my parents got me the, you know, 10 for $1 packages of big pens.
That's right. It's not the same. I want to be able to like turn the pen in my hand.
Right. And so we wanted to give kids an experience of something to look forward to and make sure it's quality so it's going to continue to work for a long time. And so a lot of what we send, they can use many, many, many times. Our water balloon package, our anger package includes water balloons. So we send a package of the bunch of balloons where you can blow up 100 at a time.
Yes, you just took them to the water hose and they just...
So easy, right? So obviously they're going to use that all at one time. But the target and the marker that we send, they can use over and over again. So the idea behind that one is the kids write with Sharpie on the water balloons the things that make them angry, and they throw the water balloons at the target because anger has a physical energy that needs to be released. And so that is a healthy way to deal with that energy of anger. And it also helps the parents see the things that make their kids angry. Because once you start writing, you're like, oh yeah, and this makes me angry, and this makes me angry, without the child having to present that information to their parent with fear of shame or that they're burdening their parents. And so it's an easy way for parents to understand what's going on with their kids and a fun way.
Yes. Okay. So do you offer, what sort of, I mean, I'm thinking you must have an amazing like coaching package to go in this for the parents alone, because I mean, parenting on an average day without, the additional ingredients of cancer is challenging, period.
Right.
So, and there were many days where, I would look at my wife, Elizabeth, and I would ask her, am I taking crazy pills? Why on earth are our children doing this? So how do you aid the parents so that, because as a parent also,
Sure.
I would sit there and I would have, all the emotions, the anger, the guilt, all those things. So, how do parents effectively deploy this?
So our initial intake includes a phone call. And I'll tell you, I've actually had parents ask me to come to their house and tell their kids, mom has cancer or
Oh, man.
we're going on hospice. And I'm like, I am so sorry to tell you, but that is not going to happen. You have got to talk to your children. They have to be able to trust you. And this is hard. But the most important thing is not whether you say the right thing or do the right thing. It's being present. Your kids just need to know that you are a safe person to be present with in these really dark times. We cannot fix each other, but we can love each other and walk with each other through really difficult times. And so in each of our packages, I include a letter to the parents that has, like I mentioned, the scripture verses of what God's word says about those particular emotions, and then sort of an anecdotal story of what happened in my own life with my own children while my husband was battling cancer, and what I learned from it, what my kids shared with me from it, and then also just some really practical things like if you see your child doing this, stomach aches. If every single morning your kid wakes up and is like, I cannot go to school, I have a stomach ache, your kid's really struggling with anxiety, more than likely. A lot of kids are afraid that they have cancer too, that it's contagious. If nobody ever tells them it's not contagious, what they think of is, well, cold and flu and, all of these things that get passed around school. Does that mean I'm going to get it? So anyway, the letters to the parents really help de-escalate the fear of talking to their kids about that particular emotion. What I hear from a lot of parents in feedback is nobody ever taught me that. Thank you. I needed that probably more than my kid needed that. And so while the goal is to have a generation of kids who know how to process really difficult things, what I'm finding is that this is changing families.
Sure. Because I mean, cancer is one of those things. It's not like we can purchase it away or trade it in for something else or move or any of those things that, if I don't like my school district, I move to a new place. If I don't like my neighborhood, I move to a new place. If I don't like my car, if it gets scratched or dented or whatever, just, we're very replacement or relocation oriented, but cancer will just go with you wherever. And I love that, you talk about really opening up that communication, because if there's one thing, I know I'm good at, even as an adult, is that when there's a blank space, like I will write the narrative. I will fill it in with, he's thinking this, she did that because, and
I think we all do.
Yes. That's just we crave knowledge, and we crave connection. I believe, that's built into us, is that as people, we want to be connected. And when things come along that are foreign, that are, aggressive, that are against, the idyllic picture that we have, now, the mind, if it's not focused or based in truth, then, you're pretty much open to whatever it is. And, I love that you shared that, kids that, that have that perpetual stomach ache in the morning, it's because of anxiety. I think about adults. I know several adults that probably have their own level of anxiety just from life in general.
Sure.
Okay, so.
And we all try and find ways to cope.
Yes.
Because life is hard.
Yes,
I mean, outside
right.
of cancer, life is hard. And so we all find ways to cope with the day-to-day difficulties of life. Now you throw in something really traumatic like, your mortality, and your normal coping skills might not really measure up to the level of help that you need. And we know that there are certain things that help and certain things that don't help.
Absolutely.
The things that don't help are typically very easy to pick up.
That's right.
But they cause more damage in the long run, and they're very temporary. What we are trying to teach these kids and these families are the things that will last them a lifetime, and not just through this difficulty, but through any difficulty. And that will create a healthier community. And I mean, healthier families will create healthier communities. And I love the idea of hope and healing as the foundation of how to get through difficult.
Okay, so let's set up. I know there is no plug and play. This is exactly how it goes down when someone goes to the doctor and then they're given this diagnosis. So for if someone gets diagnosed with cancer, where in their journey do they come to Little Hearts of Hope? Where along, if I've left the doctor and they just said, we've got to run more tests because we believe you've got cancer, am I picking up the phone? Am I going to your website? Where along the journey should I be reaching out to Little Hearts of Hope?
We have families at all points in the journey. Ideally, I would say 2 to 3 months after diagnosis. That's when your treatments finally start. That's when you're starting to feel the pinch of your world is really changing. The shock is past a little bit. 2 to 3 months after diagnosis is ideal. Most cancer treatments last about 2 years, and our program lasts for 13 months. And so we really want to get in there for the majority of that treatment time.
And so when they come, so we're all about sharing the information. So what is the best way for someone to contact you?
So if you go to our website, littleheartsofhope.org, our homepage has a button on it that says Get Help. And you'll fill out an application, and I will call you and we'll have a conversation. You personally will call? I personally call every family. Really? I do. Wow, what a touch. Yeah. And you said you're serving about 100 families right now. We are serving about 150 kids a month. 150 kids, okay. So some families have 1 kid, some families have 3. We have served a family with 7 children before. Every kid gets their own package. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay. And so they reach out to you at littleheartsofhope.org. Yes, sir. Okay. All right. And then are you like a nexus or a connection point for if they need, like, I need someone to talk to, I need a counselor, I need a therapist? Where in the spectrum of services are you with that? So just about every family that I talk to, they just pour their heart out in that first conversation, because they know that I understand what they're going through because I've been through it. And that in and of itself is a connection that not a lot of people experience, particularly with the age group that we're working with, because these are young people because they have young kids. Yes. And so I find out from them, what resources do you need? Do you need help with your medical bills? Do you need help with groceries? Do you need help with mortgage? Do you need help with medical equipment? Do you need help with childcare, with rides, with, anything and everything? Let's talk about it. And then I will connect you to the groups that serve that area, because we can't do it all, right? This is what we do. But I can provide you with a list, and I'll do a follow-up email with all the services that they needed and the nonprofits in that area or the churches in that area that will help them with those particular needs. So how big is your staff? I'm a one-woman show.
You do it all.
I do. I have an incredible board of directors, and we have a lot of volunteers. It takes a lot of people to make it work, but I am the only employee at this time.
Well, I suppose that keeps the overhead down, so all the incoming funds and resources it's very efficient. That very little comes to you, and most everything else goes out to the families.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I know there's this one figure in the Bible, and he was like, Lord, I'm busy. God was like, you need to get some help. So you've got your board. That's good. Excellent.
I do. I have a working board, and I have a tremendous amount of volunteers who step up every time I have a need.
And I know was it in September that you had your 10-year?
So our 10-year anniversary was August of 2024.
Okay.
We
August,
actually had our celebration in September.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's it. And so do you do a annual, I don't know, gala or ball or bash? Do you have like a major capital campaign?
So North Texas Giving Day is a big one for us.
Okay.
In the fall, we do a plant and sip, which is like a pumpkin and succulent decorating class with brunch and mimosas. That's a really fun one that we do every year. Our summer program, which we're super excited about growing this year, we got a grant from the Frisco Arts Foundation to expand our summer camp, which is teaching creative expression as a healthy coping skill to elementary school age children, not necessarily ones who have a parent or sibling with cancer, just any kids who want to use or learn how to use art as a healthy coping skill. And so we have the past 2 years, we were supposed to open it in 2020, and then COVID was like, no, you're not going to do that.
That's right.
And so we are growing and expanding our summer camps, which is an incredible fundraiser for us.
Excellent.
And then also during the summer, we do a art contest where people submit art. It's a lot of kids that are in our program, a lot of our donors, kids and families. They submit art online, and we host a virtual art gallery on our website. It is all skill levels, all ages, all sorts of mediums. And then our fundraiser is people vote on their favorite pieces of art, and we turn that into a calendar. And then we sell the calendar, and we make money for the program through the voting and the selling of the calendar.
Okay.
And the families who get the calendar every year, they're like, please let me know when it's coming out. It's our favorite. We love it. Can't wait to get it the next one. And then the kids who submit their artwork, like, how fun is it to see your artwork on a calendar in your grandma's house, in your aunt's house? And
so the artwork that they submit, is it whatever media that they choose, everything from crayon, pencil up to paintings or digital artwork?
We have professional artists who submit their pieces. We have had one digital art piece last year or the year before. I'm having trouble remembering right now. But we've had one digital art piece submitted. And, we have kids who draw pictures in pencil on loose leaf paper. Where they just ripped it out, and you could see the rip on the holes of the loose leaf paper. I just love kids getting in there and not feeling like it has to look a certain way for it to be good. There's good in creating.
Absolutely. So are there like first, second, third place prizes, ribbons that you hand out for this?
We do not. It costs nothing to submit artwork. We do that for free, and it stays up all year long. The top 12 people or the top 12 pieces of art get turned into the calendar, and whoever raises the most amount of money, they get to pick what month they want their art piece to be in. It's typically a kid, and they typically pick their birthday month.
That's right. That's right. Unless there's but what if two kids have the same birth month? Now it's rock, paper, scissors.
So the person who raises the most gets to pick.
Okay.
And after that, it goes by design. Like the businesses that sponsor that particular month, what their logo matches with the different pieces of artwork.
Absolutely.
And
that's
I try
fun.
to make it look
nice. And you do all of that also yourself, right? Oh, my goodness. So how many hours are in your day? Us common folk, us mere mortals only have 24.
I've had this conversation with so many people. God has given me an incredible capacity to work. I'm very, very organized. I can multitask. At this point in my life, I hear that's going to change as I hit my 50s. I'm very good at multitasking. I'm very efficient. I'm very organized. And I absolutely love what I do. So it doesn't feel like work.
Sure.
I have to stop myself from working every single day to spend time with my family and do the things that need to be done around my own house.
Absolutely.
I absolutely work too much. I know that I do. But I have the same amount of hours that everybody else does. I feel fortunate that I get to do this with so many of them.
Amen. That's exciting. So now, strategically speaking, who would be an ideal partner for Little Hearts of Hope? Because, obviously there is a fundraising aspect, we recognize that, but
it takes money to run.
That's right. But there are, within the reach of our broadcast, there are people that are part of companies, larger organizations that have a philanthropic aspect, that have a community-based aspect, that have an outreach aspect. And so, are there any organizations that ideally you would love a connection with or to come beside you and bolster up the mission of Little Hearts of Hope?
Yeah, so we've worked with a couple of organizations that have wanted to get involved in the way of what they do is buy the supplies. So it's an in-kind donation. The business gets a tax write-off. Your employees get a volunteer service project opportunity.
How so?
So what they do is they buy all the items we need for a particular package, and depending on how many employees they have, we have a figure of how many packages we can do and what amount of time you want to get it done in with the number of people that you have.
And is that all in your garage?
No, we did have quite a large storage unit that we grew out of last year, and
That's
we had to.
Good problem.
It's a great problem to have. We did have to start getting office space, so our overhead did go up significantly in 2024. But anyway, what they do is they package that month's packages for us. So it gives me an opportunity to come in and share with everybody, all of the employees, this is what we do, this is why we do it. There really isn't anybody else doing this. These kids really need help. This is a very underserved population. And you never know who that mission is going to ring with, right? There's so many good nonprofits doing amazing work. Different people have different passions. And so just being able to present that opportunity to a room full of new people, you're going to find somebody on there who's going to want to be on your board, who's going to want to become a donor, who's going to make a connection with a foundation that you can apply for grant money from. Any businesses that do matching donations, if their employees volunteer or donate and they match. Any businesses that do give gifts or grants to organizations. I would really love to get in front of every single church care pastor in the area, because at least 1/3 of your congregation is going to have cancer. If the statistics are 1 in 2 men, 1 in 3 women, and you're not serving these families who are dealing with life and death, they are asking, do I believe what I say I believe? And what's going to happen to me if I die? Is God still good? This is a mission field right in their congregation that they're not addressing. There are so few cancer support ministries and churches. It's appalling for the percentage of people who have cancer.
Okay, so give us that stats on men and women again.
1 in 2 men, 1 in 3 women. This is the 2024 stats for cancer diagnosis in a lifetime.
So you're saying 50% of men
Yes.
and 30% of women.
Yes.
That's staggering.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so you might need to bring on some staff at some point.
So we actually are hiring our first intern. She comes on in January. And as soon as funding is available, I absolutely will be hiring staff, because we need a grant writer. We need a development director. we are already outgrowing the office space that we purchased last year. The need just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
So what you're saying is that if there is someone out there, and I know that there is someone out there who has traveled, a journey where cancer has come in and occupied part of that journey, someone else who has a heart for the families, someone else who has seen and struggled through the difficulties, potentially those people could right now, just out of a heart of gratitude and service for other people who have no idea what they're up against, you wouldn't turn someone away who wanted to be a grant writer.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Or a fundraiser.
No. I would say, come on over for dinner. Let me feed you and
like in all your spare time.
Well, I actually do. I have a side gig that I do.
Okay.
I'm from New Orleans. Remember that?
That's right. So.
I make gourmet king cakes during Mardi Gras season. So the season of Mardi Gras, my day starts between 2 and 4 a.m., depending on how many orders I have.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So
I love to feed people is what I'm saying.
Now, do you also do boils and things like that?
So I don't have the equipment for the crawfish boils or crab boils or shrimp boils. My brother does. And so I'm always trying to bribe him with king cake to cook me some shrimp.
That's good to know. So we can take the Cajun out of New Orleans, but we can't take we can't take the Cajun out of you, there, whatever that is.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Absolutely not. I will be a New Orleans girl till the day I die, no matter where I'm living.
All right. Okay. Well, I see that, we have been going pretty strong here, and we always like to wrap up with just a couple of things. First is the lightning round. No wrong answers.
Okay.
It's just, which is your thing. So, it is the 5th of December. So we just finished up Thanksgiving and we're heading into Christmas. So turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Turkey. All righty. From the oven or deep fried?
Oy. Deep fried.
Deep fried. That's right. And there are a lot of people who have never had a deep fried turkey. The first time I saw it, I was like, that's not going to work out.
Yeah.
But when I saw them, lift it up from the pot and then cut it, I was sitting there going, that's amazing.
It's pretty good.
And ever since then, I've been deep fried turkey.
Yeah.
Okay. So green bean casserole or stuffing / dressing, depending on, how and where you were raised was going to determine whether you called it stuffing or dressing.
Yeah, we called it dressing.
Okay.
And I would say dressing.
Dressing. Okay.
My mama's dressing specifically. Not just any. I've tried a few.
Okay. All right. Apple pie or pumpkin pie?
Apple.
Apple pie.
But pecan should have been an option there. Pecan is my jam.
So that's like a bottle of Caro syrup, some crust, and some pecans,
No,
right?
I don't use Caro syrup. I use maple syrup. And I adjust the sugar ratio, but I use maple, and it's a maple pecan pie. It's pretty phenomenal.
We're going to have to check that one out. Okay. All right. Now, here's the really tough one.
All right.
Taylor Swift or Journey?
Journey.
Journey. All day,
that's
every
easy.
day.
I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate for that. But
Wait a minute, but you have 2 daughters, 3 daughters?
I have 2 daughters and a son.
2 daughters
and yes, they are Swiftie fans. But if I'm in the car, I'm listening to Fleetwood Mac or Elton John or Journey. Or
there you go. That's right. So they can't declare that they didn't know.
You know what? They actually like that music too. They're like, wow, you actually have really good taste. Just because you don't like our stuff doesn't mean you don't have good taste.
There you go. Okay. And now for the ultimate. Who would win in a fight between a polar bear and a great white shark in a body of water 6 feet deep, but of infinite width? There are no sides, no edges, no shore. Who would win? Great white shark or polar bear?
Great white shark.
Why?
Because I grew up watching Shark Week. And I'm terrified of sharks. And cannot get into a body of water that I cannot see my feet at the bottom because of it.
So you didn't.
It damaged me.
So you didn't swim any when you were down there in New Orleans?
Oh gosh, no. You don't get in that water. No, you go to the Bahamas for that.
There you go. Okay. All right. Well, is Is there anything that you would like to share with our podcast audience? Any word of encouragement, any insights, anything? What can give you the last word? What would you like to say?
Well, I'd like to say everybody knows somebody with cancer. And so, keep this information in your back pocket. You're going to meet somebody one day that you might realize could really benefit from our services. And if you are a family in that fight, it costs you absolutely nothing to be a part of our program. We would love to serve you and walk with your family through this really difficult journey. It'd be an honor. If you are looking for ways to get involved, we have ways that cost zero money. Be on our prayer team. You will be praying for families every single month. We have Sponsor a Child. That's $40 a month. And then we have volunteer opportunities all throughout the year where we host packing parties. And you bring a few supplies, maybe $10, $20 worth of supplies, and then you come serve with a bunch of other people who have hearts of gold. And it's really easy to get involved and to get your children involved. I love having children at our packing parties because they get to see how easy it is and how fun it is to give back. And I believe they'll become adults who will keep up that volunteerism if they're exposed to it at a young age. And so love to have families come in and serve together.
Excellent. Okay, so give us your website, your socials, and a phone number if that's how people can reach you.
Okay, so our website is littleheartsofhope.org. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, all Little Hearts of Hope. And I don't remember the specific website addresses for those, but just Google search us and you'll see. Phone number is 972-730-2235. And that is my direct number. Like I mentioned, I'm a one-woman show. So when you call, you're going to get me.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming onto our podcast. And, on behalf of James Jenkins and myself, Fred Mahusay, we want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of the McKinney Podcast, where we are out here celebrating what makes us truly unique by nature. We'll see you in the next one.